Chapter 9. The Blissful Devotee and His Cosmic Romance. My youthful search for saints and sages of India led me one day to an unforgettable meeting. It was with Master Mahasaya, Mahendra Nath Gupta, the humble yet radiant householder disciple of Sri Ramakrishna Paramahansa. The world knows him better as M., the author of the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna, one of the most profound spiritual records ever written. I was introduced to him by a friend, and when I first beheld him, I felt an aura so serene, so childlike in its purity that my heart was stilled. Here was not a renunciate monk in ochre robes, not a man of austere practices, but a simple householder, a schoolteacher, modest in dress and manner. Yet the light of God poured from his very being. His eyes, large and tender, shone with a bliss that seemed to come from another world. When he spoke of God, his words were not those of philosophy or theology. They were songs of love whispered straight from his heart. Listening to him was like being drawn into a cosmic romance, where the divine was not a distant lord to be feared, but an intimate beloved to be adored. "Do you know, my child," he said softly, "God is more real than anything else. When you love him, when you call to him with all your heart, he comes, not tomorrow, not after death, but here, in this very moment." I was deeply moved. His presence carried the fragrance of Ramakrishna's own spirit. I felt as though I were sitting in a temple, though we were only in a modest room. Master Mahasaya's entire being radiated bhakti, devotion in its purest form. Unlike so many who approached God through intellect or argument, he approached through the heart. His relationship with the divine was romantic, yet utterly innocent. He would sometimes describe God as the Divine Mother, sometimes as the Beloved, and sometimes simply as the friend of the soul. And as he spoke, I could feel waves of joy flowing into me, as though the air itself carried invisible blessings. I realized that spiritual greatness does not depend on outer status. A man may be married, employed, living among the ordinary duties of life, yet still be entirely free, drunk with the bliss of God. Master Mahasaya was proof of that. That evening with him awakened something in me. I saw that devotion, pure and childlike, was as powerful as meditation and discipline. He had found the secret, to fall in love with God so deeply that every breath became a prayer, every moment a communion. As we parted, he blessed me with words I have never forgotten. "Always remember, the love of God is the surest treasure. When you love him truly, he will respond more tenderly than the dearest friend. Never doubt this truth." I left his presence overwhelmed, as though I had just touched the hem of an eternal garment. For the first time, I understood why devotion is called the highest yoga of the heart. Through Master Mahasaya, I tasted the joy of divine romance, a joy that lingers even now in my soul. Chapter 10. I Meet My Master, Sri Yukteswor. Every seeker longs for that moment, the meeting with the Guru, the one soul destined to guide him to liberation. For me, that sacred encounter came in my youth, when I was still restless, aflame with the desire for God. It was in Varanasi, Benares, the ancient city on the Ganges, that destiny unfolded. I had gone there on pilgrimage, but my heart was aching with a silent prayer. "Divine Mother, show me my Guru. Without him, how can I find you?" One day, as I walked along a narrow lane, my eyes were suddenly drawn to a tall, noble figure. His bearing was calm, his eyes penetrating, filled with wisdom and compassion. His very presence seemed charged with divine authority. Instantly, I felt something stir within me, a recognition beyond words. Before I could think, my body moved toward him, and falling at his feet, I said, "Sir, I have been searching for you." He looked at me with steady kindness and replied in a quiet yet commanding voice, "I am he who has been sent to you." At that moment, I knew without doubt, I had found my Guru, Sri Yukteswor Giri. He was not a man of flamboyant holiness. He carried no outer marks of sainthood, no sweet words of sentiment. Instead, he was austere, disciplined, and utterly straightforward. His gaze could pierce into the very depths of my soul. Yet behind that sternness, I sensed an ocean of love. A love so pure it demanded nothing but truth. That very evening, as I sat with him, he spoke words that answered the deepest cries of my heart. God is simple. Everything else is complex. Do not confuse spirituality with display or superstition. Realize him, and you will know the truth of all religions. His presence was magnetic. I felt as though centuries of searching had ended. The weight of restless wandering lifted from my shoulders. I had found the pole star of my life. Sri Yukteswor's training, however, was not to be soft or indulgent. He was a lion of discipline, cutting through all weakness and self-deception. He demanded honesty, clarity, and tireless effort. He often corrected me with sharp words, and yet each correction was a jewel, polishing away the flaws of my nature. That night, lying awake, I thought, the Divine Mother has answered my prayer. My guru has come. From this day, my path is clear. Meeting Sri Yukteswor was the turning point of my life. The cosmic romance of devotion found its balance in the guiding hand of wisdom. With him, I would begin the long, deep journey into the heart of yoga, not as imagination, not as longing, but as lived reality. Chapter 11. 2 Penniless Boys in Brindaban. My guru, Sri Yukteswor, was a master sculptor of the soul. He shaped his disciples with discipline and wisdom, but often through trials that seemed almost impossible. One day he decided to test both my faith and my courage. "Never feel that you are without resources," he said to me. "Rely upon the invisible hand that sustains the universe." To drive his teaching deep, he gave me a command. "Take with you a friend and go to Brindaban, the holy city of Krishna. You must not carry a single rupee, not even a meal. Trust completely in God. See how he provides for his children." My heart trembled. The logical mind protested. How will we eat? Where will we stay? Yet I also knew this was no ordinary order. My guru was giving me a chance to prove to myself that faith in God is not a theory, but a living power. So, along with a schoolmate, Jitendra, I set out for Brindaban. We carried nothing but our faith. The train ride was itself a challenge. We boarded without tickets, praying silently that Divine Mother would intervene. To our astonishment, a fellow passenger, overhearing our plight, insisted on paying for our fare. We had not asked, yet the help came. Arriving in Brindaban, hunger gnawed at us, but before despair could take root, a stranger approached. "Are you young devotees of God?" he asked warmly. "Please come to my home. I have been waiting to serve sadhus like you." He welcomed us with love, offering a delicious meal that satisfied not only our bodies but our hearts. Later, he even arranged a place for us to stay, sparing us the anxiety of finding shelter. Wherever we turned, help flowed, not from our efforts, but from unseen hands. People we had never met treated us with generosity and reverence. It was as if the entire city had conspired to remind us that those who depend on God never walk alone. After spending a day filled with these miraculous provisions, Jitendra and I returned to our guru. Our faces glowed with awe as we narrated the events. Sri Yukteswor listened quietly and then said with serene authority, "Now you know. Never doubt that the universe sustains those who sustain their faith. The child who trusts the Divine Mother's care will never go hungry or abandoned." That lesson has remained with me forever. Whenever doubts arose in later life, when I had to build temples, start organizations, or travel to new lands, I remembered Brindaban. The memory of walking penniless yet cared for gave me courage to take steps into the unknown, knowing that God's hand would always hold me. Chapter 12. Years in my master's hermitage. Stepping into Sri Yukteswor's hermitage was like entering another world. The outside life, noisy, restless, full of distractions, faded away the moment I crossed his gate. Inside those walls, there was no room for ego or weakness. Only the search for truth remained. At first, my heart overflowed with joy. To live with a God-realized master felt like the fulfillment of lifetimes of longing. Yet I soon discovered that discipleship was not just about devotion, but about transformation, and transformation often requires fire. Sri Yukteswor was a man of divine wisdom, but he expressed it through strict discipline. His words were sharp when needed, his eyes piercing, his expectations high. He accepted no excuses. Every fault, every weakness in me was mirrored back with merciless clarity. There were days when my pride was wounded, when my heart cried silently, "Why does he scold me so? Why does he appear so harsh?" But deep down I knew this was not cruelty. It was love, a love far deeper than sentimental affection. My master was breaking the shell of my ego so that the light of the soul could shine. I remember once I had made a mistake and felt humiliated by his correction. I sat in the corner, nursing my hurt feelings. He approached me calmly and said, "Child, if I were to stroke your ego, you would remain the same. I do not wish for you to be the same. I wish for you to awaken to what you truly are. That requires discipline." Those words struck me like lightning. In that moment, I saw the contrast between worldly love, which comforts weakness, and divine love, which destroys weakness so the soul can be free. Life in the hermitage was simple, yet intense. We rose early, meditated deeply, studied scriptures, and served in daily chores. Each task, whether it was cooking, sweeping, or studying, was treated as worship. Sri Yukteswor often reminded us, God is found not in grand speeches, but in discipline of thought, word, and deed. Every moment must be a step toward him. His presence was itself a scripture. Just sitting near him, I could feel his consciousness, vast and unshakable, like a mountain rooted in eternity. Many times, questions that troubled my mind would dissolve without me even asking, as if his silent aura carried the answers. Yet it was not all sternness. In rare moments, he revealed a gentleness, a smile that melted every burden. On such occasions, I felt as though I were bathed in divine light. These glimpses reminded me that beneath the discipline was endless compassion. The years passed, and under his guidance my mind grew sharper, my devotion deeper, and my will stronger. Slowly I began to realize that true discipleship is not about blind obedience, but about surrendering the small self to awaken the greater self within. Those years with Sri Yukteswor became the foundation of my entire spiritual journey. Without them, I would have been just another seeker. With them, I was forged into a disciple ready to serve the mission that God had placed in my heart. To this day, whenever challenges arise, I close my eyes and feel the stern yet loving gaze of my guru. It reminds me that discipline is grace and correction is compassion. Chapter 13. The Sleepless Saint. In this chapter, Paramahansa Yogananda introduces us to a remarkable yogi named Ram Gopal Muzumdar, widely known as the Sleepless Saint. He lived in Bengal, not far from Serampore, in a small village. His life was unlike that of ordinary men, for he had attained mastery over sleep itself. Ram Gopal had lived for many years in the Himalayas, practicing deep meditation in solitude. His austerities were so great that he hardly needed food, water, or rest. His body seemed to draw vitality directly from cosmic energy. This is why he earned the title Sleepless Saint, because he claimed to have lived for decades without the need to sleep. When Yogananda met him, he felt a spiritual vibration unlike anything he had experienced before. Ram Gopal's face radiated light, and his very presence filled Yogananda with peace. Ram Gopal's teachings. The saint explained to Yogananda that sleep is nothing but a temporary withdrawal of the consciousness from the senses. When a person is fully absorbed in meditation and in tune with the eternal spirit, he no longer requires the unconscious rest that ordinary people call sleep. Ram Gopal said to Yogananda, "I have not slept for more than 40 years. My nights are spent in meditation, in communion with the divine. Why should one sleep when infinite joy is awake within?" This astonished Yogananda, as he realized what great discipline and spiritual advancement such a state required. The role of meditation. Ram Gopal emphasized that true rest does not come from sleeping, but from entering the stillness of the soul. He urged Yogananda to pursue deep meditation and seek God directly, rather than being distracted by the world. He said, "When the mind merges in God, it finds rest beyond imagination. That is the true sleep, the true refreshment." The influence on Yogananda. This meeting left a permanent mark on Yogananda's spiritual journey. He saw with his own eyes what the scriptures had declared, that man is not dependent solely on food, sleep, or material comfort. By union with God, the body and mind can transcend their usual limitations. Yogananda left Ram Gopal with a heart full of inspiration and the determination to dive deeper into meditation. Key takeaways from Chapter 13. Sleep is not essential for those who have mastered meditation and draw energy from the divine. Ram Gopal's 40 years without sleep proves the human body can be sustained by cosmic energy. True rest is found in meditation, not in unconscious slumber. Yogananda was deeply inspired by the saint's life, which became a guiding light in his path. Chapter 14. An experience in cosmic consciousness. Yogananda sets the scene very simply. He is sitting at the feet of his guru, Sri Yukteswor, in the hermitage at Serampore. It is an ordinary day, but something extraordinary is about to unfold. The moment of grace without warning, Sri Yukteswor places his hand gently over Yogananda's chest. He says nothing, but that touch acts as a divine switch. Immediately, Yogananda's consciousness is pulled upward and outward, breaking through the walls of limitation that normally surround the human mind. Yogananda describes it as if an electrical current of light was rushing through his being, dissolving the ordinary sense of I into something vast and boundless. The vision unfolds, the room dissolves. Yogananda first notices that the walls of the hermitage vanish. He can see through them as though they do not exist. Expansion across space. His awareness grows beyond the building, taking in the streets of Serampore, the city, and then the whole of Bengal. In moments, he sees the entire Indian subcontinent beneath him, the earth in space. His consciousness expands further. He perceives the globe of the earth floating in the vastness of space. He sees oceans, continents, mountains, and people as if they are all within him. Cosmic vision. He continues to expand until he perceives the planets and stars moving in their cosmic dance. His sense of self is no longer tied to a body. Instead, he experiences himself as the life of all things, the state of cosmic consciousness. In this state, Yogananda experiences overwhelming bliss, not the fleeting happiness of ordinary life, but an unshakable ecstasy that transcends human comprehension. He feels every vibration of every living being, from the smallest creature to the farthest star. He realizes that death is not an end, only a transformation, like changing garments. The essence of all creation is pure consciousness and energy, and he himself is that consciousness. He describes it as waves of joy and love rushing through him endlessly. Oneness with all life. Yogananda says that in this vision there was no separation. He was at once the tiny ant and the majestic star. He was the breath of a newborn and the silence of an ancient sage. He realized the eternal truth. God is in everything, and everything is in God. The dualities of pleasure and pain, life and death, gain and loss dissolved in the ocean of spirit. Return to normal awareness. After some time, Yogananda felt himself drawn back into the confines of the body. The walls of the room appeared again. The vast cosmic vision slowly faded, leaving him overwhelmed but transformed. Sri Yukteswor looked at him calmly, with the love of a true master. Sri Yukteswar's teaching his guru explained, "You have had a glimpse of cosmic consciousness. It comes by the grace of God. In time, through deep meditation, this state will become your permanent realization. For now, it is enough that you have seen what lies ahead." Sri Yukteswor reminded him that such states are not fantasies, but the ultimate destiny of all souls. The Guru gives the glimpse, but the disciple must cultivate discipline, devotion, and meditation to stabilize the experience. The lesson of the chapter. This moment marked a turning point in Yogananda's life. He now knew with absolute certainty that the highest truths of the scriptures about the soul, God, and the unity of creation are not mere philosophy, but direct experiences available to the seeker. It taught him, life is not bound to the body. The soul's true nature is infinite consciousness. The Guru's grace can open the doorway, but personal practice is required to make it permanent.